Hey everybody, welcome back to my stroke recovery videos. What I've been thinking about this week, ironically, is how one maintains the balance of active practice and passive practice. What I mean by active practice is that's the work at the keyboard and the practicing and the working out all your stuff. What I mean by the passive practice is the brain practice. That's the stuff that you don't consciously do. That's your unconscious mind taking over, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a little bit. The reason I say this is ironic is that I wound up back in the hospital today. I had a vasosyncope event, or a near syncope event, which means I had an almost fainting spell. The symptoms that I experienced were very similar to those that caused a stroke the last two times. So preventatively went into the hospital, thankfully was cleared of having the stroke, but what my neurologist did say is, I think you need to back off on your activity because the last two times that you've had events like this, you've been very active. And I tend to push really hard sometimes. Maybe the best intentions, maybe I want to get back, maybe I want to get better, but maybe not listening to my body as much as I should. So this is your opportunity to learn from my mistakes. One of the most difficult things I think to develop, but one of the most important things to develop about your practice is that understanding of when you've given enough and when you need to back off. When you've gotten yourself to the point like, okay, I put in the physical effort and now I need to rest. Now I need to actually rest so my creative mind, my unconscious mind, can start processing this information. You know, there are many sides to the learning process, but let me break it down to two. Bear with me here. There's the active element where you're physically working out stuff or working on a problem, or you're consciously, the cognitive side, you're consciously working on something. And then there's the other side, which is just as important, and we don't give it nearly enough credit, at least in this culture. That's the part where you rest and where you relax and you let your unconscious mind begin to work over this information. You know, it's like you don't consciously make your brain make those connections between the synapses and neurons that send the messages to your hands to do that. That all happens independently. So, I was working on these core toe exercises all week, and there's a particularly tricky one where you have to hold down two notes and then move your remaining three fingers independently. And it changes as you go through the exercises, it changes which fingers are held down and which fingers are moving independently. It's a difficult exercise under any circumstance. More difficult given my condition, but when I was working on it, I remember distinctly the moment where I felt I was making progress. I felt like I was making headway, and then I started to not make headway. And I had the thought, oh, I need to keep pushing it. I need to keep grinding because I haven't quite got it yet. Something in me said, and maybe it was let's say it was my unconscious mind said to me, dude, you need to quit because it's my turn to work. You know, when your brain, the unconscious part of your brain says, relax, we got this. Now it's my turn. You need to rest. And that's the message that I got today in a pretty blunt, big way. Again, hopefully none of you will experience this, but I had been trying so hard to get back to my baseline, that I just put in a little bit too much for my body to handle right now, and that's what sent me into this vaso event, this fainting event, and ultimately sent me to the hospital. So, again, hopefully you won't experience things like that, but take that as a larger lesson. Look at your own practice and start working out how much is enough. And how much isn't, right? And that's where keeping a journal is really important, because it's a tough thing to figure out, because sometimes, myself especially, we get days like, I don't really feel like it. Learn where that point is where you're not slacking off and you're not pushing too hard. The way to do that is to take notes for yourself, work out how you're feeling, and give yourself the slack to experiment with it. It's going to take a while, but that will be the most valuable skill you can develop because it's going to guarantee you efficient practice. If you can judge for yourself that you've done enough and it's time to let your unconscious take over, that's great. You know, so that's your goal. Meantime, despite it all, I feel great. A little shaken up, but we'll get over it. Now I've taken my medicine, I've learned my lesson, and now we're just gonna go forward. So work hard, have fun, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.